Details now on Woodmansee's early release. The Rhode Island State Senate has already approved 2 bills filed in response to the Woodmansee case.
One would limit the state's most violent criminals from earning good time credits in prison. The other, designed to delay Woodmansee's expected release, would place an immediate moratorium on good time credits until next year.
Both bills are now headed to the House.
Before we begin, I want to extend my deepest condolences to Jason Foreman's loved ones. On May 8, 1975, in South Kingstown, Rhode Island, a woman named Joyce Foreman was enjoying her 25th birthday. She was relaxing in her home with the window open, and throughout the day she heard her children playing outside. Her son Jason, who was 5 years old, was playing with his brother and 3 other boys. Joyce recalled hearing Jason laughing at around 3:30 p.m. Jason ran alone down a hill towards a fire station that was located by the home and simply vanished. As the day went on, Jason never returned home. Joyce and her family searched the neighborhood, but of course they were not able to locate Jason, so they called the police and a larger search of the community began. Peter Schofield was Jason's uncle, and he was in the military training at Fort Dix at the time. Peter received a call from his wife asking him to return home because the FBI was searching their entire property. Peter's home was being searched because he lived close to the Foremans, and Jason spent a lot of time with that side of the family. So it was initially thought that maybe he got lost in a wooded area, and of course children are most likely to be kidnapped by somebody that they know rather than a stranger. Peter was able to be transferred back home, and he worked under detectives during the time of this investigation. Despite extensive searches, Jason was not found, and the case stayed open for 8 years until a man named Michael Woodmansee confessed to the South Kingstown police about what happened to Jason. Michael Woodmansee was born July 16, 1958, and grew up in South Kingstown in the same neighborhood as Jason's family. He attended Rhode Island's South Kingston High School, and he was known for being a loner. But behind his shy demeanor, dark thoughts would plague Michael's psyche for many years. Michael often wondered what it would be like to kill someone and believed that he would be able to get away with it easily. He would later describe his thoughts of killing someone as fun. On the day of Jason's disappearance in 1975, Michael was sitting on his front porch stairs at his home he shared with his father. As he watched Jason play with his siblings and friends, Michael decided that he could no longer hold back from these fantasies he had of murdering someone. He knew he could get away with it, and it would be very easy for him. Michael called Jason over to his house and told the young boy he needed help with something. Michael was able to lure Jason into his home and told him that he just needed help for a few minutes and he would be able to return to his friends outside. Once Jason was inside, Michael quickly grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed the boy in the heart. Michael did not really know what to do at this point, so he checked on Jason several times throughout the next hour or so to see if the young boy was really dead. Once Michael was satisfied that Jason was dead, he then put his body into a large plastic bag and took it into the basement of his home. Michael quickly found out that his fantasies were not as easy as he thought, and at first he could not decide how he wanted to get rid of the body. He attempted to break the concrete floor in his basement to bury the body under the house, but he was not able to do so. Michael then wrapped Jason in a rug and put his body into a trunk that was kept in the basement. Michael was frustrated that he was not able to dispose of the body easily and took some time to calm down upstairs. He went back down to the basement later after he thought up of a plan to leave no trace of Jason. Michael never fully told the police everything that happened that day, but at this point, Michael truly became a monster and did the unthinkable. Michael put Jason's body in a boiling solution that would leave nothing but the bones. Michael saved them as a souvenir and put all of Jason's bones, including his skull, in a dresser in his bedroom. Now, Michael was a 16-year-old high school student at the time of the murder, so of course his father saw the bones and asked Michael what they were for. He said that they were props for a play that he was working on at school. This lie worked out in favor of Michael because he did audition for a local play at the time where he would be playing a murder suspect. After the play took place, I find it odd that his father never said anything else about the bones, but it does appear as if Michael's home life was not great. Michael's father was a police reservist, and their home was dingy and not well taken care of. Michael was often alone and had to fend for himself. Michael's home was actually searched initially for Jason, but nothing was found, and he would watch from his home for the next several years as Jason's family and friends searched for him. The next 8 years were incredibly hard on the Foreman family. Jason's father struggled with alcoholism and his mother fell into a deep depression. Jason's sister Raven struggled quite a bit because of her parents' mood swings and also the loss of her brother. On April 15, 1982, Michael was arrested for attempting to kidnap and potentially murder a 14-year-old paperboy named Dale Sherman. Michael was able to lure Dale into his home and gave him a drink which was spiked with alcohol. Dale eventually passed out and woke up with Michael attempting to strangle him with a bandana. Luckily, Michael was not successful this time, most likely because Dale was much older and had much more strength than a 5-year-old child. Dale ran home and told his father what he just went through, and his father was so angry that he walked to Michael's home and punched him in the face. Dale's family called the police to report Michael, while Michael's father, who was not aware that his son just attempted to murder a teenager, also called the police to report his son being punched in the face. Both families were taken into the police station, and in Michael's interrogation, he told police about his murder fantasies and how easy it would be to murder someone. Michael confessed to attempting to murder Dale Sherman, and the police had suspicion that he may have been involved with Jason Foreman's disappearance. It was too big of a coincidence that Michael attempted to murder another child when the Foremans lived on the same street. Michael admitted to the murder after only a few questions. When the media leaked the information about Michael's crimes, the public was outraged. Michael confessed to cannibalism and told the police how he was able to lure Jason into his home. Michael also told police about a journal they would find in his room, but according to him, everything in the journal was fictitious and this was just his ideas. This of course made the police believe that what Michael had written was probably true and maybe even gave information about Jason. The journal ended up being rather short, but the handwriting was very neat and Michael clearly put a lot of effort into writing about his crimes. The details of the journals have not been released, but the few who have read it have been deeply disturbed. The officers who worked on this case all said that this is the worst case they ever worked on in their entire careers. The current holding spot for the journal is unclear, and some sources said that the journal was destroyed, but copies were made for evidence purposes. When police searched Michael's room, they also found the skull on top of the dresser and the bones in a box. Michael had covered the bones in a type of resin called shellac to preserve the bones. When Jason's family was informed about Michael's confession, his father did not want to know all the details about Jason's death. It was too much and he did not want to think about his son in that way. Raven, Jason's sister, has been open about what happened to her brother. She wants the public to know that Michael is an absolute monster and a disgusting person. Raven said about the findings in Michael's room, quote, "Inside were my brother's shellacked bones. His arms, legs, a small jaw, and a few spine and rib bones. The bones were washed and finished for display. Michael coveted them. He treated my brother's bones like trophies." For Jason's family, finding out that their son had been so close all those years was bittersweet. They finally found out what happened for closure, but also finding out the gruesome details haunted them. Michael's trial was held in 1983 and he pled guilty. This was a relief to the public because of the disturbing nature of the murder. It was believed that Michael would most likely receive a life sentence in prison. However, Michael was only given a 40-year sentence because of a plea bargain. The plea bargain allowed Michael to plead guilty without having to recount the details of the murder in court. This was for the benefit of Jason's family, but I do believe that Michael's sentence would have been longer if the jury heard about the horrific things he did. While Michael was in prison, Rhode Island enacted a law called the Good Time Law, meaning a prisoner could take 10 days off their sentence every month for good behavior. Michael was a model prisoner and never got in trouble, and he also worked in prison. And with Michael having a job, this allowed him to take 12 days a month off of his sentence. Michael ended up being released in 2011, and the public was very angry because Michael was very clearly dangerous and he only served 28 years for a horrific act. Due to the public uproar, Michael was ordered to be evaluated by 2 independent forensic psychiatrists who agreed that he would fit the criteria to be involuntarily committed. Michael and his lawyer decided that he would voluntarily commit himself to Eleanor State Hospital in Cranston indefinitely. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and again, my deep condolences to Jason's friends and family. I hope you all found this video informative and helpful, and I hope you all have a great day. Stay safe out there. Bye.